All right, everyone, welcome back to Cybersecurity Unmasked, the podcast by IT Biz Tech. I'm your host, and we are ready for another deep dive into the world of, well, all things business tech. If you joined us last time, you know we were talking hybrid cloud, which, by the way, is still a hot topic around here. But this time, we're shifting gears a bit. You know that feeling? When you first moved everything to the cloud? Big relief, right? Like this huge weight off your shoulders. All that talk about flexibility and scalability was like, finally.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
But then the bill shows up, and another one. And pretty soon you're starting to wonder if that nice fluffy cloud is actually made of, well, maybe solid gold, and you're footing the bill. Sound familiar?
It's a classic story, really. We hear it all the time from our clients. The cloud's promises are super attractive, and for good reason. But it's not like you just migrate and then everything's perfect. That's when the real challenges and sometimes the unexpected costs really kick in.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. We've been seeing some real-world scenarios with our clients here at IT BizTech, and we've even been discussing some of these on our blog. So we're going to tackle those hidden costs of cloud computing head-on. We're pulling back the curtain on why those monthly bills can sometimes feel like they're going through the roof, and, most importantly, we'll share the exact strategies we use every single day to help businesses just like yours slash those costs. And the best part, you don't have to sacrifice performance to do it.
That's key. The cloud itself isn't the problem. In fact, when it's managed well, it's incredibly valuable. But without that careful attention, it's way too easy to overspend. Studies have shown, and this matches what we've seen, that something like 35% or even more of cloud spending is basically wasted. Think about that. That's a ton of money that could be going towards, well, pretty much anything else.
It's a real eye-opener, and as a managed IT services provider, we're right there in the trenches with our clients. We see those costs balloon if you're not careful. So, our goal today is to give you the inside scoop, the kind of knowledge we share with our clients so you not only understand where these hidden costs are lurking, but also what you can do about it, starting today. No more mysteries, just straight up, actionable advice. So, let's jump right in. What are some of the big reasons we see those cloud bills start to creep up on our clients?
One of the most common things we run into is over-provisioning resources. Especially when you're new to the cloud, it's tempting to think, all right, let's get more storage, more computing power, more bandwidth than we think we'll ever need, just in case.
It's that better safe than sorry mindset, right?
Yeah.
You're prepared for that huge spike in demand, but then most of the time those resources just sit there unused. Kind of like having a massive engine in your car, but you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. You've got all that power, but you're not going anywhere. And meanwhile, you're burning fuel, or in this case, burning through your budget.
That's a great way to put it. And those idle resources, they just drain your budget constantly. And to make matters worse, sometimes there's not enough monitoring and optimization happening. The cloud's always changing. Your apps need different things. You have more data sometimes. New services pop up. If you're not actively watching your usage and adjusting, you can quickly end up with virtual machines running way longer than they need to, storage packed with data you don't even use, and configurations that are, frankly, costing you way more than they should. It's like cranking the heat in your house, then forgetting to turn it down when you open all the windows.
I love that analogy. And then there's the whole pricing structure of cloud providers. Sometimes I feel like I need a PhD in, I don't know, cloud economics just to understand the bill. So many services, so many tiers, and all those usage-based charges.
Oh, you're telling me. It's a maze. And that complexity is a big reason why costs can catch people off guard. It's easy to accidentally choose a more expensive service or option when a perfectly good, cheaper one is sitting right there. You end up paying a premium for stuff you don't actually need, all because you didn't realize there was a better choice. It's like buying a cable package with hundreds of channels when you only ever watch, like, 3 of them.
It's true. And here's another one that seems to sneak up on businesses. Data egress fees. We've seen clients get hit with these unexpectedly. Can you break those down for us? What are they and why can they get so expensive?
Sure. Data egress fees are what your cloud provider charges you when you move data out of their cloud. People focus a lot on the cost of storing data, which is important, but retrieving it, moving it between regions, or even just accessing it a lot can cost a surprising amount, especially if you're dealing with massive data sets or if you're working across multiple clouds. If you're not careful, those costs can really pile up.
It's like those pesky fees you get when your suitcase is a tiny bit over the weight limit at the airport. A small detail, but it can cost you. What about when different teams within a company start using cloud services on their own without talking to IT? That seems to lead to some surprises too.
Absolutely. We call that shadow IT. When people or departments sign up for cloud services without IT knowing or approving it, well, it can cause a whole bunch of problems. It's a security risk, for one, and it leads to inconsistencies. But it almost always means you're paying for the same thing multiple times because different teams are using different services that do the same thing. And of course, that means bigger bills.
It's like everyone in your family secretly subscribing to their own streaming services. You end up paying for 5 different ones when you could all be watching the same shows together. Now, reserved instances. I know they can save you money, but I've also heard from our clients that they don't always pan out. What's the catch?
Reserved instances can give you big discounts, sometimes up to 75% off the regular price, but there's a trade-off. You have to commit to using a certain amount of computing power for a set period, usually 1 to 3 years. The savings can be huge, but the key word there is commitment. If your needs change and you don't need that much power anymore, you're stuck paying for it. It's like making a reservation at a hotel. You guarantee your room, but you pay whether you use it or not.
So you can't just set it and forget it. You have to be strategic and really know your workload patterns. And finally, the cloud is so scalable, which is great, but can that actually work against you when it comes to costs?
It definitely can. Being able to add more servers, storage, or bandwidth with a few clicks is awesome, but it can also lead to overspending if you're not careful. If you don't have a clear plan, you can end up scaling up way more than you actually need, and your costs skyrocket without a real benefit to your business.
All right, so we've covered some of the main culprits behind rising cloud costs. Now let's talk directly to you, our listeners. How do you know if your organization might be overspending on the cloud? What are some of those red flags we see when we take a look at a new client's cloud environment?
One of the most obvious signs is underutilized instances. If your virtual machines are constantly running at low capacity or your storage volumes are mostly empty, that's a clear sign you're paying for more than you're using. Same thing if you've allocated way more resources than your VMs are actually consuming, like paying for a 10-lane highway when you only have enough cars for 2 lanes.
That makes sense. What else should our listeners be looking for in their bills and usage reports?
Keep an eye out for forgotten resources. These are things like virtual machines, test environments, old backups, or unused storage that were created for a specific project and then completely forgotten about. They can quietly rack up costs over time. Also, pay attention to your data transfer costs. If you're seeing high charges for moving data between regions or providers and there's no good reason for it, that could mean your data flow isn't optimized.
And what about when different teams are spinning up cloud services without any central oversight? That's got to be a red flag too, right?
Big time. When you have multiple teams using cloud services without any coordinated budget or policies, it almost always leads to wasted money, inconsistent security, and a general lack of control. And maybe the simplest red flag of all is when your cloud bills keep going up even though your workload hasn't really changed. That's a sure sign that something needs to be investigated.
Okay, those are some really helpful pointers. So what can you actually do about it if you see some of these red flags in your own environment? What are the strategies we recommend to our clients at IT BizTech to help them get a handle on their cloud spending?
The first step, and this is absolutely essential, is to do a thorough cloud cost audit. You need to understand exactly where your money is going and where there's room for improvement. This means analyzing your resource utilization, gigging into your bills to find any surprises, and looking for any services you're paying for but not really using. This audit gives you the baseline data you need to create a solid cost optimization strategy. And this is something our team at IT BizTech is really good at. We can help you do these audits quickly and accurately.
So it's about getting a clear, objective picture of your current cloud spending. Then what? What happens once you've done the audit and found areas where you can save money?
Once you have that visibility, the next step is to create a strong cloud cost management strategy. This isn't a one-time thing, though. It needs to be an ongoing process of tracking your expenses, optimizing your resources, and actively preventing waste. This often means setting up automated cost controls, using monitoring tools to see your spending in real time, and creating clear policies for how cloud resources are used and who can approve new subscriptions. This is another area where a managed IT services provider like IT BizTech can add a lot of value. We can help you set up these systems and make sure they're running smoothly.
It makes sense it's about continuous improvement, not just a quick fix. Now, we hear a lot about auto-scaling and right-sizing. How do those actually translate into real cost savings for our clients?
These are essential optimization techniques. Auto-scaling is all about adjusting your cloud resources dynamically based on your actual needs. So when you have a lot of traffic, your resources automatically scale up to handle it, and then when things calm down, they scale back down. That way, you're only paying for what you're actually using. Right sizing is about making sure the resources you are using are the right size for your workloads. You don't want to be paying for a huge server when a smaller one would do the job. Think of it this way. Auto-scaling makes sure you have the right number of cars on the road at different times a day, while right-sizing makes sure those cars are the right size for the number of passengers.
I like that analogy. What about reserved instances and spot instances? We talked about how they can be tricky, but how can businesses use them effectively to save money?
When used strategically, reserved instances and spot instances can save you a lot. Reserved instances are great for predictable workloads that run consistently. You commit to using a certain amount of compute power for a longer period, and in return, you get a big discount, often up to 75%. Spot instances, on the other hand, are like getting a standby ticket. You're using spare capacity in the cloud, so the price is super low, sometimes up to 90% off. But the catch is that you might get bumped if someone else needs that capacity. So they're best for tasks that aren't mission critical and can handle being interrupted.
So it's all about knowing your workloads and matching them to the right type of instance. What about monitoring and forecasting? How important are those for keeping cloud costs in check?
They're crucial. Cloud monitoring tools give you real-time insight into how you're using resources and how much you're spending. That way, you can spot any unusual activity or spikes in usage right away. Forecasting helps you anticipate future costs and make smarter decisions about your resources and budget. It's like tracking your personal finances. You need to know where your money is going and plan for upcoming expenses.
That makes perfect sense. Are there any other key strategies you recommend to your clients at IT BizTech for optimizing their cloud spending?
Absolutely. Consolidating your cloud services can often lead to big savings. By getting rid of redundant applications, data storage, and other services, you can reduce your overall cloud footprint and simplify your management. This often happens because of shadow IT, so getting a handle on that is important. Another crucial step is implementing strong governance and cost control policies. That means setting clear guidelines for how cloud resources are used, who can approve new subscriptions, and how much can be spent. And don't forget about optimizing your data egress costs. By strategically designing your cloud environment and choosing providers with better egress pricing, you can save a lot of money, especially if your applications use a lot of data.
Are there any specific tools or platforms that can help businesses with all of this, with monitoring, optimization, and cost management?
Absolutely. All the major cloud providers have their own cost management tools. For example, AWS has Cost Explorer and Cost and Usage Reports, Azure has Azure Cost Management, and Google Cloud has Cloud Billing Reports. These tools give you detailed breakdowns of your spending, let you set budgets and alerts, and even offer suggestions for how to optimize. Plus, there are tons of third-party cloud cost management platforms that offer even more features and can work across multiple cloud providers.
So it sounds like managing cloud costs effectively is a multifaceted approach that involves gaining visibility, using smart optimization strategies, leveraging the right tools, and establishing strong governance. And that's where having the right IT support and expertise comes in, wouldn't you say?
100%. IT professionals, like our team here at IT BizTech, have the knowledge and experience to navigate the complexities of cloud cost management. We can help you perform those cost audits, find hidden inefficiencies, optimize your workloads, implement automation, and make sure your cloud environment is secure, scalable, and cost-effective. Our IT support services are designed to provide the proactive, ongoing management that's essential for keeping cloud costs under control and maximizing your return on investment.
This has been fantastic. So to wrap things up, the cloud is incredibly powerful and flexible. But as we've seen firsthand with so many businesses, if you're not careful, those benefits can be outweighed by unexpected and rising costs.
Exactly. The key is to harness the power of the cloud in a responsible and financially sustainable way.
And that's what we've been diving into today. We've unpacked some of the most common pitfalls, shared practical tools and strategies you can use, and given you a glimpse into the kind of expert advice our team provides every day to help businesses like yours take control of their cloud budgets.
You don't have to just accept those high cloud bills. By being proactive and informed, you can take concrete steps to optimize your cloud environment and eliminate unnecessary spending.
So don't let those cloud bills stress you out any longer. It's time to take charge. Cut those costs, streamline your operations, and make sure your cloud investment is working for you, not against you. If you're ready to make a change and you want to tap into the expertise we offer here at IT BizTech, head over to our website at https://aebiztech.com for a free consultation. We'll talk about your specific cloud environment and figure out exactly how your business can achieve significant and lasting cost savings.
Because at the end of the day, when you use the cloud smarter, your bottom line looks better, and you can reinvest those savings into growing your business.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into cloud cost management. We'll be back next time with more practical insights to help you navigate the ever-changing world of business technology.